I was in Kaduna way back, I think it was in 2011. I was in Kaduna. A friend of mine called Pastor David Kwaso, he has a church in northern part of Kaduna. You know, Kaduna is divided into two. The southern part is Christian, the north is Muslim. But he has his church in Kawo, not far from the central mosque. And I went to minister there. They had soldiers with AK-47 guarding the church. That's how serious it was. And I thought, what kind of country is this? A lot of the churches in the north have sold and gone down south. And even Pastor Tunde Bolanta is a very good friend of mine. You know, lovely man of God. He has his church in the south with a hospital and so many facilities to look after Christians. But then you said you came from a Muslim home and then trouble started some years ago. And even the Muslims didn't care who was Muslim or not in the area where you live. Can you just explain that side to us, please?
Okay, well, what you must understand, it's not even necessarily by that riot alone. The Northerners, the Islam, Muslim, Fulani House have always been hostile to Christians and Christian communities in the North. So even before the riot, it's always been like that. Whatever you see today happening, didn't just start in the year 2009. Whatever is happening today is something that has been sown as a seed by the ancestors, by the father of Sheikh Gumi, the Abubakar Gumis. They were the ones that shaped the culture of Islam in Nigeria. They dictate how a Muslim should behave and what he should do, the teachings, the doctrines, the dogmas of Islam. They were the ones that shaped it. So there's a way that propagated hatred in the heart of young Northern Hausa boys that even growing up as kids, do you know a particular boy called that you almost everyone because I dribbled him on the field. We were just young boys. When he came to field with dagger, you may not understand what is a young boy doing with dagger. So it's always been like that. Now, in the year 2000, let me just, I believe this Zando Katata, in 2000, about the time the Sharia riot started, I can remember it was on a Monday. And before you know it, the whole place, churches were being bombed. Christian, you know, that even if you're a Muslim, and you're not of the outside Fulani extract, you are not considered as Muslim enough. As long as you are not a radical Islamist, you are not an extremist, you are not violent, you don't do the way they do, they don't see you as, and then you speak a different language than they speak. So you are not considered as Muslim enough. That is how it has always been. But in the year 2000, during the Sharia riot, I could remember that a church, if you go to Kaduna, I wouldn't know now, it's been a long time I left Kaduna, so I wouldn't know that. Before church, we saw a Chapel of Redemption. There's a church called, I think Joseph Omoraya or something, I can't remember the name of the pastor now. And his church was being bought. And they began to stop destruction. As long as you are not of the house of Fulani, even if you are a Muslim, you are not really a Muslim at all. Now, in my compound then, I can remember that they used this tipper, this to load for Fulani boys, and they were shooting arrows at us. It was an experience, I can't forget it, because you see, when we talk about these things online, and we're telling about the repercussion of this Islamist, repercussion of Sharia on the society of Nigeria, they just think we're talking about. We have seen the damages it has done, even as a young boy. We have seen the damages it has done, we have seen atrocities that have been committed. The house of boys can stab a Christian boy, can stab evil boy, and do whatever they like to do. It has been going on like that long before this insecurity issue started. It has always been like that. Ask anybody that have lived in the North, they will tell you. Now, with the Sharia riot, it made it very, very clear that Nigeria cannot be one. It made it very clear that we cannot live together because they were hostile. They attacked anything that had to do with Christianity. Now, I'm saying this not because as a dad I was still a Muslim. My father was still a Muslim. I have seen that I was still a Muslim, but they were still attacking us because we are not fanatics. Because we are not the way they used to be. So I think people must understand that the concept of Sharia and Islam has bred what we have today. What we are seeing today didn't just start. No, it's by what they have been planted long ago by the Sheikh Gumis, Abubakar Gumis, by the Amanu Gumis. These are people that have shaped the culture of Islam and have planted extremism. Do you know many years ago that even if you're a Nigerian, bidding for an opportunity in the international scene, and how someone will vote against you and vote for another person in another nation that is a Muslim? So there's always been that distinction that we are allies. They see anybody that is not with them as ally. So I think so that year it was a terrible year, and there were a lot of discussions. That was when I see pigs feeding on human corpses, because for weeks, months, corpses of people were littered everywhere. That was when I see that first of all in my life, a human being was set on fire and it was roasted like this severally. So it was a terrible experience, and I want people to understand that when we speak, we're not speaking because we want to make noise. We are speaking from a place of understanding, first-hand experience, knowing that this thing has caused a lot of destruction of life and properties to people in Nigeria, especially and especially the Christian people. The genocide you see didn't start today. It just became amplified later. It has always been. There's always been an attack on Plateau communities. There's always been an attack on Southern Kaduna communities. There's always been an attack on Bedman. There's always been an attack on natural communities, the natural Igos and the rest of them. So if you take your time to say, you know that what we are going through today, the insecurity, the genocide, didn't start today. It's been a thing that has been long time coming.